San Francisco became known for its vibrant art scene starting in the 1950s with the rise of the Beat generation in North Beach. Then came the 1960s with the Summer of Love, the Haight-Ashbury District's music, arts, and psychedelic culture, to what it is today, still a vibrant art scene, just evolved along with the rest of the city's landscape. Hi there, I'm your host, Zara Robotham, and welcome to the American Dream. Today, I'm taking you into a local artist's home turned museum. What looks like an unassuming house is actually the most whimsical home you can imagine, decades in the making. But don't take my word for it. Let's take a look inside. Hi, well, I'm here with Gregangelo. He is the owner and the artistic director of the Gregangelo Museum. Why don't you tell us what we're about to step into?
Well, I'm not sure. It changes based on the viewer, because we're about to step into your stories that immerse through a bunch of different art installations. It's been coined the name the Gregangelo Museum maybe in the 1980s when a lot of designers would come here and artists and architects. And it was never intended to be a museum. It was never intended to be a showplace. It was just sort of a workshop for my productions at the time. I was running a circus company called Velocity Circus. And I was also working as a whirling dervish. So I was using the house, which was a rescue property, total dump. Like it was a messed up plaster on the floor, molded out, rats in the attic dump. And I just kind of started fixing it up. I was renting at the time. Mm-hmm. And eventually I bought it because I kind of did a little too much work on it. Yeah. And that was one of the greatest accomplishments ever for an artist to buy something in the city. Yeah. And so that kind of name, the Gregangelo Museum coined, but I always say I call it the Connectatorium, and I always say it's a museum to everybody who walks in here. It's about connecting with yourself and each other and just having a good time and being honest, sort of a truth serum, just keeping it real.
Great. Well, I'm excited to step into the rabbit hole.
All right, shall we do it?
Yeah. So I notice every room has a different theme, but it couldn't have been done overnight.
I probably started 15 years or 20 years before I bought it. I started in 1979 is when I first started. I was a teenager. It was an unusual situation. In here. And I was always an artist, and I would take, wrapping paper and shoeboxes, any found objects I could, and I'd start creating installations, I guess that's what we'd call them now. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. And I'd attract a lot of young people and curious neighbors coming over. What is this kid doing? And I'd create music and do little concerts and shows at the time. And it's been almost a 42-year process. We now are I was never that intentional in making it. I was doing it, but now we're very intentional. Now we have 16 to 20 artists that have 3 studio days a week here.
Wow. Just
working on building it, maintaining it, creating new installations, new works, new stories, ultimately.
Now we're in the future, the galaxy room. Gregangelo, who's your buddy?
Well, I'm not sure. He's all of our buddies now. I mean, this room is just sort of it was sort of a kitsch view of, I call it yesterday's tomorrows. When I was growing up, this is what we thought the future would look like, and it never quite happened. And it's just looking at a hopeful view of the future.
So this is my favorite room. Just tell me a little bit, how is this the present?
Well, it's looking at life, it's a walk-in mosaic, and it's looking at life on a molecular level. Mm-hmm. And it's showing that everything that we know of, including your body right here, it's liquid cells that are harboring a conscious. So it's all about so if you look at the red swirls, it's magma. Yes. It's liquid magma coming up through the oceans to form the land that we live on. Mm-hmm. It's ocean, but it's atmosphere, it's breath, it's everything in liquid form, but it's showing that everything has a consciousness.
Yeah. We were just sharing stories. I want to hear your story, Marcelo. You're the creative director here.
Yes.
And what brought you here?
What brought me here was that I wanted to be creative again. I was doing things that I was proud of, but it wasn't very creative. And then when I got here and I met the people that work here, are people who actually, everybody has a role. They either do the accounting or they do the bookings, but they're all artists. And when I realized that everybody, even though they were artists, they were still doing this thing, it became like this very interesting way of seeing a place where all these people work together from everywhere in the world. And it has been a life change. I am, again, around the artists, around diversity, and that makes a huge difference in my life.
Well, thanks for telling us.
Yeah,
Can I make a little cheers?
Sure, yes.
To many more years of the museum and keep going.
Cheers.
Wow. I don't think I've quite seen a house like this before. I hope you feel inspired and keep using your creativity. Until next time, I'll see ya.